I've been thinking more about this issue of the way that the earliest humans have, I guess, discovered their radical indebtedness to the mysterious powers upon which their lives depended. And the only natural response was, I guess, a fearful guilt over how much the this utter absolute gift is unrepayable. And I think in the last video I suggested that there are people who perhaps misunderstand the the gift character of life and are in some way trying to deny the gift character because they don't want to be indebted, and they've tried to figure out some way to bring it down to their own means of dealing with it in an attempt to repay it in some sense. I think a different way to recontextualize this would be to suggest that if we go and we try to understand the history of humanity, the long, long history of what we mean by the human, we find a story of sacrifice. And the role of sacrifice in the ancient world, and maybe even within the Christian tradition, right? These are what need to be understood in order to get at the desire of the human to get out of the feeling of being indebted without capacity for repayment. Now, I've said before, I'm trying to open up a discussion or a dialogue about possibilities of God talk in the wake of scientific naturalism and in the wake of full on, I guess, recognition and support of evolutionary biology, of natural evolution, and without making recourse to a guy in the sky, a doer of deeds, a person who gives ultimate judgment, and no appeal to an afterlife or a judgment or ultimate recompense. I think the larger issue is that sensitive people have always recognized that life is a radical, radical gift. And, some people had said to me something to the effect of, there's really no need to repay the gift because you'd just be paying yourself back. And I mean, the meta logic within their argument is something like a pantheism or I guess you could call it a kind of Eastern orientation where the person says that, all is one. As much as I appreciate that view, and I find much in that view to be resonant with both my experiences and with a kind of larger cosmos that I think, we can find intelligible. I think there's something about that that really is also trying to hide from the unrepayability of the gift. Yeah, when I think of Schrag's work, and that's really what I was trying to talk about, is his God is otherwise than being. And it's coming out of some of the Levinasian tradition of radical alterity, radical otherness. I mean, an otherness beyond what we can even imagine. It just, the closest we get is stuff like ineffable. I mean, it's beyond what we could think. It's hard to relate to that kind of otherness, but it is at the very cusp of intelligibility. I think you can feel it at the very horizon line of it. It doesn't come into the intelligible, but we can feel it at the very fringes, the absolute other. I think this question of sacrifice and how have the earliest humans perhaps just created religious dogma, created religious worldviews as a psychological attempt to help deal with this utter feeling of the gift and the indebtedness, and then some of the fallen kind of guilt that comes from just seeing it all as a huge gift to which you could never repay it. I think it hurts people, and the appeal of religion is to provide a system that somehow shoulders that indebtedness for people, gives them a way to manage it, deal with it, express it. And I think it's fascinating to really get on this issue of, well, there doesn't need to be a giver to recognize the gift character of it. It has something to do with the emergence of self-awareness, and that the emergence of self-awareness is part of the gift. I mean, it's really wild. Um, the issue about the Christ figure, now this could be a fun way to maybe try to tackle it, is I think that perhaps, right, the Christ figure is, this is, people are so recognizing their petty little sacrifices. I mean, they've sacrificed how many cows? I mean, Abraham almost has to sacrifice his boy. I mean, the amount of human sacrifice, and not just sacrificing alien others, but all of the tradition of the death pot latches throughout history, all of Rene Girard's work on sacred sacrifice, all of the work on leaving a little bit of extra for the gods. I mean, if you go to thousands and thousands and thousands of different tribes, when they have ceremonies of abundance and they're sharing their food, one of the first things they'll do is they'll make a plate for the invisible ancestors, and they will pay them first. There is a sense, people recognize an indebtedness, and as foolish as we now look at these acts of sympathetic magic, and we look at the long, painful history of sacrifice, of human sacrifice. And they weren't sacrificing the bad ones, they were sacrificing the good ones, right? Whether you want to go to the Aztecs, I mean, the examples are countless. When we move to the Christ figure, it's almost like people are, they're to the point where saying, our little sacrifices are only so much. I mean, we need a big sacrifice here. We need to sacrifice something that really the giver that we're imagining in order to alleviate the guilt, that giver has to give up and sacrifice, and then that somehow that will be a sufficient sacrifice, and we can vicariously participate in the self-sacrificial feast, something like this. And I think this is where some of the pantheistic orientation re-enters, where people do say, well, yes, it's a sort of self-sacrifice, and you get in these weird issues of the Trinity and all this kind of stuff in religious dogma. From my own perspective, I'm not interested in the theology as much as I'm interested in it as clues to human psychology as they grew in history, from my perspective, through dominant communication technologies. It has to do with the rise of tribalism and tribal life, and then how tribal life had slowly been broken into an individual's quest for a meaningful life, the slow emergence of the individual, and that the Jesus myth in some way represents the beginning of individualism in Western history. Some of this probably sounds crazy. Well, you have to look for some of the things that I have coming out in written form. I think this issue of, it's what Becker called the causa-sui project, the self-cause, and how it drifted from collectivist self-cause to individualist self-cause. It represented a significant shift in what we would call proper sacrifice, or a proper way of dealing with the gift character. And I guess I'm running out of time here, but I think the thing that I would want to say is that I think life is a gift. It's a gift beyond repayment. The best we can do is love other people and take care of each other as best we can. That's not repayment. It's passing on the best that one can from one's situation. I think it's unrepayable, and I think as long as you're alive, that's part of the burden of being human, is to know its unrepayability and to celebrate it and to be thankful, and which is it's a difficult task, and to be very watchful against cruelty or sacrifice, because I think oftentimes it's a repressed hostility from feeling that one hasn't repaid the gift. Thanks.